Welcome back. Today I'm joined by CJ. You may know him from the Wildheart, Honeycrack, Jellies, and now CJ Wildheart. Welcome to the show, CJ, and thank you for doing this.
Hello, Mark. It's good to see a friendly face.
Thanks, mate. So, first of all, what have you been up to? What's been keeping you busy?
Summer holidays, I'll be really honest. Not very rock and roll. I got my boy in my bedroom, doing something at the moment. I told him to occupy himself for 45 minutes to an hour. And yeah, it's summer holidays. So I really enjoy being a dad because
Yeah.
I've seen it over the years, over the decades, I've seen musicians become fathers, and some of them have not really embraced fatherhood
Yeah, yeah,
with loving arms. But I like all aspects of my life. So, but I do miss touring. I've got to say I do miss touring. I don't tour enough these days.
brilliant. Have we got any tour dates coming up this year?
And no, I mean this year I've done two shows this year, and then I've got Scott's Memorial show in
Hmm.
October, and that's it. My Japanese label are trying to get me over to Japan in April, but that's it really as far as shows are for the foreseeable. So I'm just cracking on making another album, for the rest of the
Fantastic.
summer and autumn. Yeah.
Has he got a title?
Yes, it's called Chalk.
Chalk.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Well, this
My
brings,
my son designed the cover. It's from a picture he did live when he was 6, and I said it would make a really good album cover. So my artist Wilkes he's put it on a blackboard as a chalk drawing, hence it called Chalk.
fantastic. And as we all know, your son made up the Siege cover, which
It
was
is, yeah.
a moment of inspiration.
Yes, him having a tantrum is one and only major tantrum with me. So I had to capture it.
Excellent. So, Devil has just recently come out, and what a blinding album it is. There's a number of
Thank
tracks
you.
on there that I'm just obsessed with. What was the theme for that album? I mean, obviously it's called Devil. What inspired that?
It's I'll be honest with you, when I started making the album, I was getting very close to maybe stepping back from music.
Yeah.
Not because of I can make albums, I can write songs. I find it frustratingly hard and frustratingly easy at the same time because it's something I've been a musician all my life. So if you do something many, many, many times, you should get better at it.
Hmm.
And I feel there's been a progression with my albums. They're it's obviously you can tell, my heart's in punk, but there's been a progression with the albums. And with Devil, the frustrating part for me is I know how many I'm going to sell, I know how much money I'm going to make, and unfortunately, it's not enough to call it a full-time job. And
Hmm.
it gets harder every year to put so much of your heart and soul into something, knowing that it isn't going to cover your bills. It isn't gonna. It's never been a hobby for me. And if music, I would never have music as a hobby. I know there's a lot of people out there who would love to put albums out and stuff, but it's always been my bread and butter. And
Hmm.
it gets harder each year to pull in some bacon, and it is very frustrating. You know.
That said,
The
it's been
devil,
amazing.
yeah.
It's been
Mm,
amazing. You've sustained a career for what, 30 something years now? It's,
yeah,
it's
yeah. I mean,
incredible.
well, my first release was when I was 18 and I'm 48, 40, I'm 58 now. So
I'm
that's like
40 now.
40. Yeah, so it's like 40 years of releasing music. Yeah, I'm lucky that in the 90s I had two huge record deals. And one of them was with the Wild Hearts, and the other one was with Honeycrack. And there's what I find hilarious looking back now is that the Wild Hearts were always fighting with their record companies. And
Mm.
if they didn't have those record companies, no one would know who we are right now. Absolutely nobody. Ginger wouldn't have a career. I wouldn't have a career. Danny wouldn't have a career. It's the reason why people know us is because of the millions those big corporate labels put into the bands. And, you know, we were in magazines, we had videos, we were touring all over the world, and thank God those record companies did invest in our bands because yeah, I wouldn't be talking to you right now, and I
Mm,
have a fan base because of that investment all those years ago. These the fans have grown up with us, and the small amount that I've we have left are the ones who enable us to call this a job still.
yeah, absolutely. Do you think that said the music industry today is easier or harder than back in the 90s and 80s when you started?
Um, it's exactly the same.
Mm,
There's only a handful of bands signed big deals back in the day. You know, um, out of all my friends, I was the only one who signed a massive record deal. The rest of them gave up after a few years. I'm the only one who's still making music, and it
yeah,
was really hard to be noticed. There was millions of bands. They weren't all signing big deals and touring and getting in the charts and doing top of the pops. That's a exclusive club for
absolutely.
a privileged few. And it's the same now. It's only a few are going to make it and call this, can look back in 30 years and go, wow, we had a good shot at this. It's just everything's changed, not just in music business. The whole
Mm,
world has changed. It's called progression. It's called, I've never been a Luddite, I'm glad I grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and yeah, part of me wishes my son was growing up in those times, but he isn't. He's growing up now.
yeah,
And there's nothing worse than older people harping on about how good it was back in, like there was no murders or wars or, racism back in the old days. It's rubbish, absolute
absolutely.
rubbish. My son in 40 years' time will be looking back at this period, which us old bastards are calling horrible, going, it was brilliant, you know?
It's so true. It's all relative, isn't it, to the age
It is.
you're in?
Mm.
So going back to Devil, I remember you saying at one point it was the album you almost quit on. It might be your last. What changed things?
Uh, I found for me motivating saying the album was my last is what made me just get up and turning that frustration, depression,
Mm,
happiness, joy into music is it's therapy for me, and there's a lot of things I find frustrating in the business I'm in. It can be very frustrating, but if you can turn that frustration into sounds, it's good. It's really good to let it out, and I find music very cathartic. And it's I find it's really good to celebrate good things and to celebrate bad things through music. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. So how have you found this record's gone down for you compared to your past releases?
I mean, without a doubt, I've had the best reviews I've ever had as in my solo career on this album. And if you could turn reviews into cold hard cash, I'll be driving my favorite car, the Aston Martin Vantage. It's I mean, you read some of the reviews I get, they're so gushing, and
Yeah,
yeah, it's a good job my feet are firmly on the ground because I could be out there demanding all sorts of stuff. But no, it's amazing the way people talk about my music. You know, I'd be lying if I said it doesn't make me extremely happy. And people pick up. They
mm,
really pick up on the punk side of things as well. It's been really hard for me to the Wildhearts weren't a punk band. Honeycrack weren't a punk band. We had elements of it, but as a solo artist, my feet have always firmly been in the punk camp. And it's nice
yeah,
after all these decades that people are finally realizing that, yeah, I am a punk rocker. And, with the single, One of the Boys, a lot of people were saying it's real old school punk. And that's the biggest compliment I can get.
yeah. It's I love that track. It's so catchy. And the one thing I've always admired about your body of work is, and I think it's rare for a lot of artists, every album has got better. You seem to better the last, and that's a rare accomplishment these days and ages. Usually, someone has a dud somewhere, but I've not found that with yours. So,
Thank you. I mean, it's a lovely thing to say. I think a lot of it's got to do with is my lack of success.
Right. Okay.
So success can breed laziness and complacency. And when you hit that plateau, you stop trying so hard.
Sure.
And I need to put out good albums, and I don't sell much, but what I do sell, is just enough for me to survive. So if the minute I take my eye off the ball, the minute I get lazy, the minute I cut a corner, my small fan base will see that. But worst of
Mm,
all, I'll be mugging myself. And there's no
sure.
way I'm going to mug myself. I cannot put anything but 100% into everything I do. And that goes from the artwork to the finished product to what I'm writing, recording. Um, I don't make polished albums, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to squeeze the life out of any of my albums and have them overproduced, overmixed. It's important that I have the rough edges, but those edges have had 100% put into them, and that's what's really important here.
It comes across the quality of what you put out is always top notch, and I think also the people you work with, it reflects in them too. It's great. So your first album was 13, and we're right up to Devil. Has your process changed from the first album to the last album about how you go about things, or has it always remained quite similar?
Um, yeah, I mean, I'm really conscious of my age. I turn 59 in a few months, and I'm really conscious that with a lot of older artists, they start mellowing out and they start to fizzle out a bit, and it's quite sad. It's like looking at a racehorse slowing down. One
Mm.
minute it's running the Grand National, the next minute it's pulling like kids along Blackpool, the sand and the beach. And I've never wanted to go out mellow. I've always wanted to go out on flames, kicking and screaming. So I'm really conscious of the fact that I'm getting older, but my music shall not sound old. It should always sound fresh and like it's coming from a youthful like stance, even though I'm an old bastard.
So, based on what you've said, kind of an album a year is the way you go. Can we expect this for the foreseeable, or do you see yourself hanging it up at some point?
I mean, if I want to carry on making music and calling it, my job, I have to put an album out a year.
Yeah.
I can't wait 2 years because there's nothing to fill in that gap unless I stop writing, stop recording, and try and get a job at my age where I'm almost and I can count on that many fingers how long I've had a regular job for, and that's
Ah,
years.
that's amazing.
you know, I've always made music, and as my wife was saying, if you got a regular job, I think you probably last a week before if anyone said anything out of line to you, you're just gonna. I said, yeah, I have to have some self-respect, and I can't have people talking to me out of line. I'd say in any walk of life, some people are just like that. So yeah, I'll make another album. I'm gonna make Chalk. I've got the next three albums. The covers are practically done, and the titles are done. After
Oh,
Chalk,
amazing.
after Chalk, I'm making an album called Birds, and then after Birds comes Sushi. Yeah,
Excellent. Lots to look
yeah.
forward to then. We
I'm
just
way
need you on
way
some
ahead. Yeah.
tours. Yeah, that's amazing.
Uh, yeah. If I don't think like that, I'm gonna stop.
Yeah,
I, I have to set myself goals. So the goal now is to make another three albums before I say I'm going to give up again.
love that. Absolutely love
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
So, do you have an idea of, if I said to you, what would you love in an ideal world to accomplish in the next 10 years? What would that look like for you?
Um, so I mean, the first thing I want to do more shows. I want to tour more.
Mm,
It seems frustrating that I can't get shows that just cover my bottom line. I can't. I won't pay to play, and I won't play if I'm going to make a loss because what's the point?
mm.
It's just I'd rather stay at home. And I'd love to be sitting down with you, Mark, in 10 years' time, and we're talking about whatever album I've got coming out. I think, I mean, that would be amazing. What a privilege that would be. to still be making music in 10 years' time. You know, I'll be in my 60s, well into my 60s. That what a privilege. Yeah, it'd be amazing, you know.
I think what's more amazing than that is you don't even look close to that age. You've kept looking well, man.
And you can thank my parents for that. You know, good genes, good genes. Hey, I'm a, you know, I haven't led a healthy lifestyle. You know, when we started out, we were really into that rock and roll thing, and we grabbed it by both hands, as you well know. I mean, just look at the Wildhearts. You know, we weren't messing about. We had a great time, but I've always tried to, whatever I've taken out of my body, I've always tried to put it back in.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm well aware, you know, even now, right now, I haven't been doing many shows, and I've got a bit lazy. I've stopped exercising, and I've taken it easy on my old self. And I hurt my foot last week, and you know, I haven't been able to walk properly, and I'm just starting to get motivated again. And I went, right, in the next sort of month or so, I'm getting back into doing a bit of training, detoxing, and getting healthy again. But it's more about putting something good back into your body. It's really important. Balance is really, really important. And what you find with a lot of musicians is they get that balance very wrong. And I've always been aware of that. And I think as you get older, it becomes more important.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this year, if I'm not mistaken, is actually the 30th anniversary of Honeycrack.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
I think I might be mistaken, but I think it is
Oh,
96.
yes. Yes. For the album, definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
Um, we spoke briefly last year that there was possibility of a reissue or a reunion of
Yeah.
some kind, whether Willie wanted to be involved or not. Is that something that maybe not happen this year, but in the future?
The reissue has been spoken about for a while now. It's nothing to do with me, but I know the person
Mm.
who's doing it. And it's been held up by Sony, not
Uh,
releasing the rights to it. They're still umming and ahhing, and I basically said that, you know, the longer you leave it, you're going to miss the deadline. I mean, we're almost at the end of summer now, so I don't know if it's going to happen. And you know, as much as I'd love to do some Honeycrack shows, I think there's a real demand for Honeycrack because a lot of people didn't see us at the time,
mm,
and they became aware of the band after we'd split, and they found that album, and it's an album I'm immensely proud of, and it's the most musical album I've ever made. You know, it's just it's there's something special about that album. And but unfortunately Willie just isn't in to doing the reunion thing, and you know, unless he's on board, it'll be absolutely impossible for us to, you know, to go out as Honeycrack. You know, I'm a firm believer in bands having the actual band members in them. You know, there's a lot of bands out there that don't have the band members in it, and it's not, there's no chemistry there. You know, it's not the same. And you know, I don't care who, you know, I could be talking about a host of bands out there. There's a lot of them, and they go out there and they use the name and everything, but it's not the same. It isn't.
I remember when
You know.
Guns N' Roses did it. It's argued that they were world-class musicians he put together, and it was a good show from what I saw, but it wasn't Guns N' Roses for me. You know,
There's no
that's the
chemistry
ability was
there.
lacking.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
you
that's
need,
it.
you
So
know, there's a lot of you know, chemistry is really important. I speak about this on my social media about you when you join with certain people. Like I had it with Ginge, I had it with Willie, I have it with my solo band now. It's taken me 10 years to find the right
mm,
guys, and I have these guys and we have chemistry. You can't, it's nothing to do with your ability as a musician. You know, chemistry is a completely different. You can teach any idiot to play an instrument. It's one of the easiest things in the world to do. Most humans have that ability
mm,
in them, you know, but chemistry is different. You're born with that. It's a different thing. Um,
absolutely. I think Guns, for example, losing Stephen Adler and Izzy Stradlin, it was never the same. Never the same.
it won't be the same, but you know, I think that the most important thing is capturing those classic times and those classic lineups. And every band I've
Mm,
been in is caught that classic time, and they're the times most people will remember. And again, we're privileged to have been in that position because of the deals we had, and you know, to
mm.
have that photograph of that time. That's what you should remember, you know.
Absolutely.
When we got it right, we got it right.
I remember obviously when you left the Wildhearts in the 90s, and then Honeycrack came straight out of left field, and they were just amazing. And to go from one big band to essentially another one, which potentially I think you had more commercial success with Honeycrack, didn't you? On was it the Big Breakfast and TFI and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, we got into a lot more exclusive places,
Mm.
but we didn't look so scruffy, did we? I remember when Honeycrack, when we used to tour, we used to get invited to all the best clubs down. And the Wild Arts never used to get invited anywhere, and we'd always get invited. And my brother summed it up really well because I said, "Oh, we were on tour and we were in London and we went out." I said, "Come and join us in the club." And then I was sitting down. I was talking to these like five black guys. They asked me what I was doing. I had bright red hair and I was in my suit. I said, "Come and have some champagne." And I was chatting with them. And then my brother came in the club and he goes, "You don't know who these guys are, do you?" I haven't got a clue. And he goes, "It was the English football team." I wouldn't know if they slapped me around the football,
Yeah.
mate. Because last year you're with the Wild Hearts in some dungeon in Soho. I said, "Hey, you came with half the English football team." I went, yeah,
Things change. Things change. So looking back over your career, has there been any, well, there's obviously standout moments for touring and stuff, or any stories that stick in the mind?
um, there's in anyone's career, especially if you've done it at a certain level. I mean, the first time we did Top of the Pops was a big deal back then. You
Mm.
know, Top of the Pops was one great deal, big deal for us, but a bigger deal for our parents.
Oh yeah, yeah.
When parents, when their kids go on Top of the Pops back in the 90s, 80s, 70s, it was a massive deal. It's like, you suddenly become like really famous, to your parents. And I remember how proud my dad was. And then there was we were on tour in Europe supporting, I can't remember who we were. We were supporting someone in Europe. And me and Ginger had to fly back to London to do a TV show. And TV Tan had just come out. And a taxi came, or a driver came to pick us up in Heathrow. And it had one of the cards up with like CJ and Ginger, and uh, we got in the car and we're driving to whatever TV show, the studio, what we were doing, and uh, he had Radio One on, and TV Tan came on the radio, and it was like the afternoon show. I think it was like, I can't remember, it was Simon May or Steve Wright or something, and it was just one of those moments. We ran down the window. We're on the radio, on radio. And the driver was going, "Is this you guys?" I went, "Yeah." And it was just like, it was a real magical moment, just hearing us on like prime time, like Radio One, where you would never expect to be on the radio at that time. Late at night on like kind of rock shows and stuff like that. But hearing us on there and stuff like that is really good. But when we played Monsters of Rock, headlined the B stage. First time they had a second stage and we headlined it. They were
Wow.
really big moments. TFI Friday with Honeycrack, massive moment. Zig and Zag, many times with Honeycrack again. Little things like that they're what people remember. You did Zig and Zag, you must have been famous. you know?
It's so true.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
true. But yeah, those moments was really hit different. And I think, as you say, when you're younger, they hit different for different reasons. People that are proud of you get to see it and witness it. So it's amazing.
It is.
So out of your albums that you've done on a solo basis, is there any that are particularly important to you that you're really proud of? Or is it a case of your latest baby is the best one for you?
Um, because I was very seriously thinking of jacking it in
Hmm.
with this album, Devil. When I finished it, it was like, God, it was such a relief because it's the most frustrating album I've ever made. It was I really, really had to force myself to finish this album. And I was so relieved. when it was finished. But I have this every time I make an album, start writing an album. Uh, my wife, Vicky, goes, you always stress, you always say you're not going to be able to write it, you're not going to, but you always finish it. You always finish it. So
Yeah,
it's every album. It doesn't matter what band I'm with or whether it's solo. Every single album is important. They're all stepping stones leading to this moment where I'm talking to you, and you can't dismiss them. Some albums I haven't liked, others I've liked more. And, some of my, if someone said pick 5 albums from your career, I'd pick Versus, I'd pick the Honeycrack album, I'd pick Welcome to My World, the Jellies, I'll pick Slots and Devil. They're the albums I would pick. But I've made many, many albums and they're all important to each
absolutely.
other. Yeah. And I've just
Speaking of,
noticed you got I've just noticed what's behind you as well. I was going, I recognize those albums. I wonder who they're by.
yeah, it's a bit of a shrine today.
It is. Yeah. I've made a lot of albums, haven't I?
You have, because not all of them are on vinyl.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, the jelly stuff and stuff. I've got a few on CD here. But speaking of the jellies, would you ever revisit that in any capacity?
No, I mean that's if I was going to revisit, there's only one band I really, really want to revisit, and that's Honeycrack. It's the only band out of all the bands I've been in, that one deserves revisiting. The rest of them, they've had their time. They've been and gone. And it's like Honeycrack. We, we never fulfilled our full potential. We didn't even come close. And that's why, the Wild Hearts, they peaked years
Mm.
and years ago, and they're never going to peak again. That's just the way it is. Jelly's finished, had a natural ending. My solo career carries as long as I want to carry on making music. My solo career would just carry on. But Honeycrack, unfulfilled, and that's the only band I'd love to go back and revisit.
What was it that ended Honeycrack then?
We mistakenly walked off Sony, thinking we could walk into another deal, and we should have
Mm.
stayed with Sony. And then uh, I wanted to go more punk, really wanted to go more pop, and it was kind of. But I think what worked with Honeycrack is because Willie is such a good musician, but he has that Beatle thing, and people who are into the
Yeah,
Beatles tend to overproduce, overwrite, overdo everything. They want that real perfect picture. Where I brought that element of roughness to it, and that's why it really, really worked. And
yeah.
I think if with Honeycrack, we couldn't turn into Crowded House, we couldn't turn into Squeeze. We needed that bit of the Pistols and the Clash with it as well, and that's what I bought. You know,
So do you think in a parallel universe, if it happened, there's another great Honeycrack album in you guys?
I think if me and Willie sat down and wrote an album together, yeah, it would be a proper Honeycrack album. It would be a good one. Yeah, definitely. He knows that. He just doesn't want to admit it. He wants to play. Does he play keyboards with the Dogs D'Amore or someone like that? Who does he play keyboards
I
with?
think I think he's doing
Not the
something
Dogs
with
D'Amore.
Doc.
Choir Boys.
Choir Boys.
One of those.
Yeah,
Yeah, one of those. Yeah,
we all
yeah,
need to
yeah.
petition Willie.
What, to stop playing keyboards with the Choir Boys? That'll be good. You are not allowed to play with the Choir Boys.
I think he should find some time in his schedule for a bit of Honeycrack. I really do. But I live in
Um,
hope. I live in hope.
yeah, yeah. I've stopped holding my breath. Yeah.
So here's an interesting question, just for fun, really. Obviously, we've discussed all the bands you've been in, and aside from your current solo lineup, if you could pick your ideal band members, dead or alive, have you got anyone in mind you'd have? What would be, how would that look?
I'd have Bill Stevenson on drums from Descendants, Black
Right.
Flag. I'd have Mick Jones on guitar, not the Mick Jones from Foreigner, Mick Jones from The Clash. Yeah. Obviously, I'd be in the band as well. On bass, I mean, the bass players I like. Oof, probably have John Entwistle on bass.
Okay.
John Entwistle on bass, and then so that's two, I've got Mick Jones, me, guitar, Bill Stevenson on drums, John Entwistle on bass, and then what? Should I have a keyboard player in there as well?
Yeah, go on.
I'd have Willie on keyboards. Okay. Done.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Just need a name now, but sounds good.
Honey crack. Hey,
If only,
sorted.
if
Yeah.
only.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, when we met in Scarborough 2006, it's going back a while, you said
Yeah.
that you never actually owned any records you played on or even
Yes.
listened to them. Has that
Yeah.
changed?
No. No, not at all. Um, so on vinyl solo albums, I have slots on vinyl, I have split on vinyl, and I have devil on vinyl. The
Excellent.
rest of them solo albums I don't have. I mean, personally, I have no Wildheart albums on vinyl, but I have some in my lockup, which were
Right.
given to me, and they just went straight into my lockup. And I've slowly given most of them away. Apparently, I gave away a £200 version of Earth Versus with my last prize, Pet Twin prizes on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, yeah, it shows you how much I care. I it's uh, for me, listening to my own music is like sucking your cock. Just because you can do it, you don't. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
it's
I,
it's and it's especially with my solo stuff. I spent so long. It takes me about 4 to 6 months
yeah.
focusing on these songs. I'm sick of them. I mean, I can't. I listened to Devil on vinyl again about 3 weeks ago, and I won't listen to that album again. I mean, I haven't heard Mabel since it came out.
Okay.
I haven't listened to Earth Versus since you know it came out. I just don't.
Hmm.
I don't. There's other bands I want to listen to, and I find it a bit odd when you're a fan of your own stuff, isn't it? A bit egotistical, but sitting at home listening to your own stuff. It's weird.
I can't imagine doing that. I mean, I act and I don't like watching my own films back. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I hate reading my interviews. I hate seeing myself on like interviews. I can't like look at them. I don't listen. I mean, what's really nice is sometimes I hear music on someone's post, and I went, "Oh, that's really good. That sounds familiar." And then I look it up, and it's me. And I genuinely had no idea this was my song. And I go, "Ooh, I wrote a good song once."
I was going to
Yeah.
say, is there many songs that, you are proud of and stick with you? Or once you've done them, do you kind of move on from them?
I mean, there's lots of songs over my whole career, not just my songs, other songs.
Sure.
There's a Beautiful Thing You, the Wild Art song,
Yeah.
the B-side. I remember when we were recording that and just singing that chorus. It's always had it's resonated with me. The song was about me. It's Ginger talking to.
Oh, wow.
You believe that as well, then? Yeah. Can you imagine when he was singing that line, I was in front of him and he was looking me dead in the eye. Yeah. Could you
You slipped
imagine?
right in, didn't you?
But
Brilliant.
no, it's a lovely song. But there's songs throughout, not just my own songs. Songs I've played on, and I'd be lying if I said I'm really proud of them. I mean, I can take a slice of my whole career, sit
Yeah.
someone down who's never heard of me, and they're not going to go away saying this sounds like a pile of crap. They're
No.
going to go, this you've made some serious music over the years, and you know, and I'm not sucking my own cock when I say that. Yeah.
No, it's good you're proud of what you've achieved and what you've done. I mean, me personally, I again go back to Honeycrack, go away and sitting at home are just blinders for me. They never get old. They never get
Oh,
old.
I love that. What I absolutely really does my head in is when you see musicians complaining about playing their hits and
Mm.
playing, and it's like, you pretentious, egotistical, see you next Tuesday. You know, it's like, these are the songs. This is the reason why you're on stage.
Yeah.
And the minute you forget you're a clown here to entertain, who's ever bought a ticket to come and see you, you're a clown. You go on stage and you entertain them. The minute you start entertaining yourself, you've forgotten your place in life. And it's awful seeing privileged, overpaid musicians getting to that point where they think they shouldn't be entertaining someone who's worked hard all week to buy one of the overinflated tickets.
Mm.
And they're moaning about playing the songs that got these people into them. And so I'll always feel privileged and lucky. And it doesn't matter what level you're playing at, if you can still make some bacon from your music, you should never let it go to your head that you'll turn into some arrogant, diva-esque prick. That's them.
Absolutely. I recall you saying, I think it's been a couple of years now, but you bought a
Yeah.
record player and you were buying one vinyl a month. Did that
Yes. Yeah.
continue?
It stopped when I realized all my favorite albums, because I like a lot of smaller bands. Their albums were never repressed. And some of them are like £200 and
Yeah.
£300. And there isn't a piece of plastic in a world I would pay that sort of money for. No offense to serious collectors like yourself, but there's hats I'd rather buy for that sort of money.
I completely understand. I cringe sometimes myself, though I have spent some prices like that on your stuff. So
Yeah. I
I
mean,
stand by it.
I'm lucky that a lot of my favorite albums are still in circulation. I could pick them up for £25, but I
Yeah.
did have a £25 limit. And but my jaw did hit the floor a few times. It was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'll never hear that album on vinyl ever again unless it gets reissued. And yeah, one of them did, Belly Button, Jellyfish. They're it's one of my favorite albums, Belly Button by Jellyfish, and that got reissued, so I was able to buy it. But when I was first like, I couldn't find a copy for less than like 150 quid, and it's
Wow.
like, I'm not spending that sort of money on
I
vinyl.
think
I
you're the
just can't.
sensible
Yeah.
one here, to be fair.
See, I'd spend that money on a hat like that,
So I
but you
wouldn't.
can't,
So, horses for
yeah. See,
courses.
everyone, you can't wear vinyl.
You can't.
I get more mileage out of a hat than I do out of a spinning record.
This is it. I mean, the most I'll probably put a record on in a go is two or three times. Then I'm like, right, shelve it for a bit,
Yeah,
come back. So,
yeah. But I understand why people collect vinyl. And when I see your albums, my albums behind you there, and I'm kind of thinking, "Ugh, I wish I had them." And I'm thinking, but they'll be
yeah.
stuck in a box and they'll never be played. So it's like, I'm not a collector. I don't collect anything. The only thing I can, collect is souls. Yeah.
The latest album title is making more sense now.
Yeah. you know, um, I- it was a devil of an album to make, hence the title, Devil.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's almost like you preempted that.
yeah, yeah.
So, for everyone watching, out of the vinyl you did buy, what top three would you recommend everyone listens to?
First one is Give 'Em Enough Rope, The Clash,
Okay.
and then the Descendants All, and
Okay.
then third one, it's either Fishbone, Truth and Soul, or Bad Brains, Eye Against Eye. It's a toss up between them. There you go. Yeah,
I'll let you have the four. I'll let you have the four. That's
yeah.
amazing. So, if you could talk to your younger self before the crazy career you've had, what bit of advice would older, wiser CJ give young CJ now?
Without a doubt, put down the guitar, step away from the Marshall, get out of the rehearsal room, go to college, and start learning how to be a chef.
Really?
Yeah, without a doubt, 100%. Yeah. I would
Would you
have,
miss music, or would it be a hobby for you if you'd have gone that route?
well, while I'm sitting in my one of my restaurants. No.
So
um, I mean, I love food. I love cooking,
yeah,
and my wife has been in hospitality all her life, managed many high-end restaurants, bottom-end restaurants, and she knows. And she always said you have the right temperament to be a chef because it's a really tough
amazing.
job being a chef, and it's very rock and roll as well. And but
Yeah,
I've always loved cooking, and anyone who follows me on social media knows how much of a into food I am. And yeah, it's the only thing when if I'd been asked this question, would you change anything? And that, yeah, I would have gone down a
interesting.
culinary route
That's
instead of
interesting.
yeah, definitely. Yeah. If I went back, that's what I would do. Yeah.
Still time. Still time.
No, there isn't. It's a young man's game. There isn't time. It's like something, you know, there just isn't time to do that. One thing my dad always used to say, he was really proud of me because I chose a path and I stuck to it. And
Yeah,
even when the few times I had to get a job for a week or two or 6 months here, he says, you always stayed true to what you chose all those years ago. And I'm so proud of you for that. And,
yeah,
I am a musician and this is the road I walk. It might be crooked, it might be lonely at times, but I've stuck to my guns and I'm almost 60 and that feels good saying that, you know.
yeah,
But, most people have never heard of me, but there's a wealth of music behind me and you can find it if I point you in the right direction. And I'm not full of shit.
as I think one of the tradesmen said to you, you're the real deal.
Yes, I am. Yeah, I am the real deal. Yeah, not the big deal or a big deal, just the real deal. Yeah, it's enough.
So obviously you did choose music. What was it that grabbed you? What did it?
So there's a couple of things. I grew up in the army, so I went to six different schools. By the time I was 15, I lived in four different countries, all over the world. And I was very, very unsettled. And as I've got older, seeing my son grow up in one town, go to one primary school. He's at high
Yeah,
school now. He's going to end up, in that one high school, having all these friends he'll have for life. I never had that, and it made me very ungrounded. And I've always had this thing: the minute I've been in one place for more than 5 years or 6 years, I want to move on. I want to move on.
mm,
And being in a band gave me that freedom, especially when you're in a professional band and you're touring, a working band, because you're always on the move. And I feel most comfortable when it's taken me decades to just anchor myself and stay rooted in one place. And a lot of
yeah,
that's got to do with the people I'm with, my son, my wife. Not so much the area because I'm not a big fan of. I live in Yorkshire. It's a beautiful place, but I feel really out. I'm a southerner, and I miss the food, and I miss my friends down south. I've made some like decent friends up here. Yeah, I'm not. The weather's shit. I mean, we had a nice summer, but winters are just awful up here. But it's that I'm grounded here. I'm settled here. My son is a Yorkshireman, and it's like being in the band felt like home. It's always felt like home.
yeah.
Traveling, and I said to Josh, my boy, he goes, "How you feeling?" I went, "I'll be really honest with you, Josh. I really want to tour again." I go, I'm a bit bored and I don't get
Mm,
bored. And he goes, What are you bored with? I went, Life, son.
yeah,
I'm not bored of you. I just want to tour. I want the higher playing shows and stuff like that. And yeah, that's why I joined bands. It's that freedom. Just, you know, I never had a boss. I've never had a boss. And
yeah.
folks who have try and tell me what to do, as Ginger found out, it doesn't happen. it, it doesn't work
I'm not good
well.
with bosses.
I love that about musicians, though, especially like the Wild Arts. You tell them to jump, they'll go like, "Yeah, you jump, mate."
So is your son looking to follow in your footsteps? And if he did, would you encourage it?
Absolutely not. No. He started learning the guitar, and then after about a year, he stopped. And I said, "Well, you're not interested in it?" He went, No, I don't want to be poor like you. Oh, and that's the best thing you can say to me. I was so overjoyed when he says, you know,
Yeah.
I want to get a proper job. And guess what he's getting this? What he's just got for his birthday. His birthday's next week. And he's
Yeah.
just got an electronic drum kit. He's a drummer now.
No
I'm
way.
like,
There's
oh
still
my
time.
God, I just can't. I just can't. And his favorite band's Rammstein as well. So
Really?
it's like, but I would never put stars in anybody's eyes, and I definitely
No.
wouldn't put stars in my own kids' eyes because I think it's the worst thing you can do. And especially in this day and age, making money from the arts is next to impossible.
Yeah.
And I see so many bands touring, and they don't even come home with any bacon, you know. And it's like, what are you doing this? I mean, that's not a job. It's like you're paying basically to go out on the road. And I don't want my boy to suffer. I want him to leave school and get a job that AI isn't going to steal off him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And it's like I don't think there's I think it's really hard now to make money from the arts. And there's a lot of nepotism going on as well and
Yeah.
connected people. But I think I'd do my son a disservice if I ever put stars in his eyes, and I'd never do that.
But equally, if you wanted to do it, would you support him and encourage it, or
If
would you?
he's happy,
Yeah.
healthy, and earning a crust, yes, I support him 100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, all you want for your kids is to be happy, but I don't want him to. There's so many. It's to truly make it in anything. You need to be that 1% who has that extra little twist. And it's not about your ability or how good you are when it comes to art, because some of the most successful artists, and I mean the whole umbrella of art, are awful, but they're very successful, you
Yeah.
know. And you know, the best, just because you're the best guitarist in the world doesn't mean you're going to make a living from this. Just,
It's
you know,
true.
yeah. And so
Hard
it's
work
that
and a lot
little,
of luck.
yeah, it's an X factor, and you're born with that. It's not something you can go to school and learn. And you know, but ultimately, you know, my son needs to be happy, and whatever he does, as long as he's not harming himself or others, I will support it.
Excellent. So we've touched on your love of cooking. Obviously, you have your hot sauce, which is very hot for my for my liking.
Well, it comes
But
in different strengths. I
it,
made a real mild
you
one
did. You
for
did.
kids,
I'm a bit
and
of a pussy, but
uh,
but no, I like. I've been having actually. I have been having the extreme. I only need a dot or two, but my God,
right.
it bangs just right to be
Yeah, but
fair.
I mean, that says it does what it says on the bottle. You
It
know,
does. It does.
I think on the back of it, it says caution: this hot sauce may make you bleed from the anus. Yeah,
I remember
you
reading
know,
something like
listen
that.
to my warnings.
So, with your hot sauce, would there be any chance of taking that commercial, getting it out in the shops, or?
Well, it's funny enough, Ian, who produces my hot sauce, is
Hmm.
retiring.
Oh
So
no.
we he's going to do one more cook for me this year, and then that's it for the time being. So I'm basically putting up a pre-order in like September, maybe October, and it's the last Devil Spit sale for the foreseeable. So I'm basically saying it's the end of the road unless in a couple of years I find another producer. So yeah, that's
Wow.
coming to its natural end. But I've been producing my hot sauce for what 12 years now. So I've had a
Yeah, it's been a while.
good run. Yeah, really good run. And I've seen other bands make their hot sauces and they're rubbish. They're just putting their name on some crappy hot sauce.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
absolutely there's nothing about it. And it's like would you put your name on somebody else's album? You know,
No,
so why are you putting your name on somebody else's hot sauce? There's none of you in that at all, and it's just a cheap gimmick and a cheap way of trying to make some money. And yeah, I don't endorse it. Yeah.
I fully respect that. Is there any other products that you'd love to get involved with, or not especially?
Um, uh,
Hats?
I'd like my own range of hats. See, I really like. I build my own computers, PCs. So
Okay.
yeah. So I took 6 months away from music. At the end of the Chutzpah tour, I saw how much we got paid, and it was like, screw this, man. I need to have a break. from this band when we're doing all this work and we're not earning any money, and it's like it's stupid. Why be away from home for 2 months and you come home with no dough? What's the point?
Yeah.
You know, it's not a holiday. And so I enrolled in college in London on a how to build computer course. And it's really good. So the last 6 computers, PCs I've had, I've built myself and saved myself a chunk of dough. And yeah, I build mostly gaming rigs as well because I like playing games.
Amazing.
So it's like a little nerdy sideline I have. Yeah.
Excellent. Watch this space.
Mhm.
So watch this space. Who knows where that might lead?
I mean, everyone's into like that's a kind of closed shop that is, you know. I am just happy that I've got enough of a fan base who still buy my vinyl and CDs. And
Yeah.
as long as they're still alive, I'll have that. They're all dropping off slowly though.
Oh, bless. So you got chalk. What was the next one?
Birds,
And then sushi.
then sushi. Yeah.
Excellent. And they all going to be kind of punky, what we've come to expect?
Yeah. I mean, I've started compiling all the ideas for Chalk, my next one, and um, yeah, it's quite heavy at the moment. Yeah, there's a lot of in me still, so
That's
you
all.
got to let it out. Yeah.
And finally, when all's said and done, how would you like yourself to be remembered?
Um, just as a decent musician, you know, someone who stuck to his guns and went out on fire. Definitely. Yeah. No acoustic stuff, no folk or country and western. I mean, it's like
Punk all the
it's
way.
just punk and on fire and loud guitars. I got into it because I like the sound of electric guitars through Marshalls. I like the sound of a Gibson through a Marshall amp.
Yeah.
And that's why would I ever deviate from that road? You know, you can't beat it, the clang of a Gibson through a Marshall. I mean, it's the sound of rock and roll and it's the sound of punk.
Well, long may you continue. Love your work. And it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today, CJ. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much. Thank you very much, Mark. All right, I'm off dogging now, so have a good day. Okay.
You take care, my friend.
Bye
Ta-da.
bye, mate. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Take care. Bye.